Yeah, first thanks a lot for hosting us. For hosting.
Try to say this.
Oh yeah, for hosting, and thanks all for coming. Really exciting. So I would like to ask first a few questions to get an impression of what is most interesting to you. So it's a broad range of topics I could cover, and I've obviously prepared some slides, but I could spend more time here or more time there. So I just want to. So first question, maybe who knows what a prediction market is? So okay, that's great. I can pick that one and go to more. So I guess who have heard of Augur? Okay, so who have heard of Gnosis before? Okay, great. Who have tried or used Gnosis? Okay. So who knows what Futarchy, I never know how to pronounce it exactly, is? Okay. Great. Then I guess I can get started, and I have already an impression. Short slide on who I am and what I've done before. So basically me and Stefan, my co-founder, we built a prediction market, Bitcoin prediction market, fairly like 3 years ago. It's still running, and we tried to build it with all those, in our opinion, great questions in mind. So those questions like, will there be a hard fork for Bitcoin to increase the block size and all that stuff? We tried to get people excited about those predictions. In the end, it purely turned more or less into sports betting. Well, okay. Another thing is we always tried or had the goal to build it decentralized. And I'm still convinced that it might be possible with Bitcoin to do it. But it's just way more complicated. So you can use those opcodes and try to make fancy use of multi-signature addresses, and again, it might be possible. I think it's way easier, or we experience that it's way easier to implement it on Ethereum, and I'm in general very optimistic about the Ethereum ecosystem compared to Bitcoin, but that's different discussion. So, long story short is we switched from Fairlay 1.5 years ago to Gnosis and kind of build it again from scratch with the experience of building Fairlay before, but now with this great new tool, Ethereum. So other than that, I'm, well, for quite a while interested in general in blockchains, Ethereum, did some research around state channels, off-chain transactions, Lightning Network-like things, mining incentives, game theory around proof of stake, proof of work. And recently, there's another project I'm doing is called Circles. It's an idea of, you've heard of it?
Circles man, yeah.
Great. But I asked me about that after the talk if you're interested enough to cover around Gnosis and prediction markets. Finally, in the last weeks, I spent a little bit too much time around the DAO, distracted, I guess, or at least me a little bit. So I wrote 3 FAQs around the DAO heights. So you might have seen them on Reddit. Okay, great. So now the next 4 or 5 slides are a high-level view of Gnosis, and then I will go into the details. But first, what is our vision, or what is our big goal with Gnosis? So it's all about forecasting, and in our opinion, every economic activity is very directly tied to forecasting. So whether you every business you start relies on some assumption or on some forecasts. And if we would have a better tool to forecast lots of events and lots of small, fine-grained events, get always a precise number, get always the option to head or to see your or let's say you have 5 assumptions and you have for each an exact number, and then you say, okay, for this I'm not so sure, I bet on those 4, but I want to insure or I want to hedge against this 5th thing. So all of those are things that you can do with a prediction market. So it's in the long term, it's really about making economy and everything more efficient. Kind of, I guess, a similar goal or a similar high-level thing what cryptocurrency is also about. So our goal is build the world's most efficient forecasting tool. And how do we do it? So the first idea is we today you can make high level predictions to some degree by, for example, buying a stock. So if you buy Apple stock, what you really do is you make like 10 or 20 different bets. So you make so the success of Apple as a whole depends on how they are doing in China, how they are doing here, how the price of the US dollar renminbi price might be relevant. So there are a bunch of things that are relevant, but today our market only allows you to buy the stock or don't buy it. What we want to do is we want to break it down, and you should make a prediction. It should be possible to make a prediction on basically every number in a quarterly earnings report. So there is how many iPhones did they sold, how many MacBooks, how successful are they with, I don't know, if they're building a car or whatever. So instead of, again, making this bunch of predictions, we want to decouple them, and we want to make it as small, or decompose them and make very small predictions. So another example is and how things are connected. Those slides this specific example is a few months old, but still. So you might. So the election might play a role for a company. So, for example, for ExxonMobil, it would have made a big difference whether Cruz is elected or Sanders. So, if you buy today, if you buy today ExxonMobil stock, you kind of, part of it is this bet also on Sanders versus Cruz. So, and what is and whether or not, I guess that was, I made the slide the day before the Wisconsin primary, and there is a relation. What you also want to do is you want to predict the general presidential election, but there's a direct relation to the primary, to some single primary. So in Wisconsin, and there is a direct relation to the weather of Wisconsin at this day. So to some degree, the weather of Wisconsin is somewhat related to ExxonMobil stock, and we think those small predictions are easier than those big high level. How will the economy do? And we think it's way more efficient if you can use the liquidity of the whole stock market, but break it down into those single predictions. This whole concept does only work if all those markets and all this liquidity is on one platform. Is on one platform with a shared liquidity pool. And now our belief is that that's exactly where we need blockchain. So we, as Gnosis, I mean, I guess we would like to be the company that does all of this and the market of the markets, but it's unlikely that we will do it. However, if we build a decentralized market where that we don't own, or at least we do not control, or we do not have power over it, then we think it's way more likely to get enough people together to agree on something. I mean, that's kind of the core idea of decentralization. So, I mean, just imagine the internet. If there would have been a single company that says, okay, we will now run the internet, or it wouldn't have gotten nearly there where it have gotten today. So it needs to be decentralized. It must not be controlled by a single company or entity. It must be permissionless for everyone to join and to use it. So what we want to do is with Gnosis, we want to build a decentralized platform for forecasting any economic activity. Just that. And to gain even more efficiency, it's also important to unbundle all the roles that are needed to run a prediction market, to run a business. So today it's often the case that if you want to run a business, then you need to fulfill a bunch of roles, and you maybe only get paid for one. And we think it's way more efficient if every single step is unbundled, and they all have their own economic incentives. All right, so now a little bit more concrete. So that's our high-level architecture of Gnosis. So we have more or less 3 components. We have first of all stuff on the blockchain. There is roughly some Gnosis contract, or it's a bunch of contracts in reality, and Oracle contract. Then we have the DApp, that is basically just a bunch of HTML and JavaScript that communicates with the blockchain, gets data from the blockchain, and finally we are building, or we already have built, an Oracle platform. And what I want to focus on this slide is our way how we use oracles. So since everyone has heard about prediction markets, I guess you're all familiar with the concept of oracles. So you need someone who eventually brings the data, or brings the data of what happened to trigger payouts and outcomes in the prediction market. So the important thing is that the oracle can be completely separated from blockchain and even from Gnosis. So all we need is an oracle, and we are actually talking to companies like Wolfram Alpha and Bloomberg. So all they need to do is the existing data feeds they already provide, so they provide a bunch of data. All they need to do is put a signature under it. And they don't need to know about the blockchain, they don't need to care about the blockchain, they don't need to care about our Gnosis contracts. All they need to do is put a signature under the data, and then if you bought some shares in the outcome, so this canonical thing, who will become next president, so you have your Hillary or Trump or whatever shares, and eventually the event happened, and you want to redeem your shares into Ether or dollar or whatever the underlying token is. All you need is the signed piece of data. It will be evaluated. The signature will be evaluated on the blockchain by this Oracle contract. The contract will just check is Bloomberg or whoever was appointed to sign it, are they really signing it? If so, great. The contract can release the money and it's paid out. So why is this important? It's first in line of this idea of unbundling stuff. So this Oracle data feed company, Bloomberg, they are completely separate. It helps in the decentralization, and it also might help for some legal and liability questions. Right. So, very short overview of what is the core component of a prediction market, and I call it the core component is it's a conditional tradable payment. So what does it mean? So what you always need the core concept is you put in one collateral token. That can be US dollar token. I think they will be available on Ethereum soon. It could be just Ether, or it could be a token representing Bitcoin, or it could be a DAO token, or it could be any kind of token. So that is your collateral. And then, so you put this into the smart contract, and let's just say it's a dollar token. So this dollar token is held by the contract, and then you specify specific, we call it event. Let's say who becomes next president, and then you have a bunch of potential outcomes. Just let's say Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, or someone else. And I mean, we know one of those three needs to be true. So we create 3 tokens. Hillary Clinton, one token for Hillary Clinton, one for Trump, and one for someone else. And now anyone can just put in 10 Ether and create of each outcome 10 tokens. And eventually, if the Oracle signs their data and someone puts the signed data on the blockchain, then this collateral will go, for example, to someone else, so to the other outcome or to whoever wins. So this construct is really the core of a prediction market. And what I will show next is, yeah, sure. Oh, okay. Let's do questions after. What I will show next is 7 use cases, or 7 things you can do with this structure, and only 1 or 2 will be the regular prediction market stuff. Others are alternative use cases you might not have thought about immediately. All right. Okay. So maybe as soon as you have those 3 tokens, you know all 3 together, or if you hold all 3, you know they will have eventually the value again of $1 or one Ether, because one of those 3 will eventually become $1. So you know for sure the value of those 3 is $1. However, the value of every single of those tokens is directly a representation of the likelihood of the single event. So let's say Trump and Hillary and someone else would all have the same chances, then the value of a Hillary token should be $1 divided by 3. If you think the value of the likelihood of Hillary becoming president is higher than 33.33%, then you should buy those tokens, because you you pay only 0.33, but the expected value of this token is whatever you think the likelihood is. And if you think the likelihood is 60% or 70%, then the value of this token is 70 cents. Because with 70 cents likelihood, it will become $1. Okay. So again, the core mechanism is create those tokens, then just trade them wherever on any kind of market. You can use an automated market maker. You can just use a regular. You could trade them on Poloniex. You could trade them on a decentralized exchange, and just have a look at the prices of those tokens, and that is directly the forecast of the likelihood of the event. Right. So now. Oops, wrong direction. Now we will have a look at seven use cases. So that's kind of the canonical use case. It's the idea of buying an information. So let's say you want to know. Let's just come up with a pretty recent event. So there has been this Ethereum Classic, and you want to know how is the Ethereum Foundation acting. So a very concrete question could be, and I'm myself curious in this question. The Ethereum Foundation has currently like 1 million Ether, or someone knows a better number. Well, let's say they have 1 million Ether, so that means they also have 1 million Ether Classic. What will they do? So will they sell this 1 million Ethereum Classic? That I would be pretty interested in what they will do, because, for example, if they would sell, then I would reassess the value of Ethereum Classic, or especially if they would keep it, or whatever. So, and now let's say I have this question, and I think it's worth for me $200 or $500. So let's say $100. I personally would say it's worth. I would be willing to pay $100 to get an answer, or to get an estimate of this question, the forecast. So what I could do is I create exactly the structure, and I make a description. Will Ethereum Foundation sell their Ether Classic tokens? And I have two outcomes: yes, no. And now I just take $100 and create 100 of those yes tokens and 100 of those no tokens, and I will just put them into something called the automated market maker. And what the automated market maker basically does is takes those tokens and tries to find a price. So it starts, let's say, at 50-50, and as soon as people buy more yes tokens, and the price of yes will go up and the price of no will go down, until yes tokens eventually have the value of 1, and the other ones have the value of 0, then all your money is spent. But everything in between, so basically it will just make a market. So the idea again, you create an event and you subsidize an automated market maker, and since everyone can trade against this market maker, it's a great tool to gather information. And that's one of the applications we want to offer. For Gnosis. So ask your question, put in some money, and get a result, and just see what what everyone thinks. Because as soon as someone agrees with those numbers, someone has an incentive to trade them, and as soon as they trade them, they will correct the numbers, and you will get a better answer. So buying information is application number one. Of course, if someone is buying information, someone else is kind of selling this information, so that's a simple use case. So if there is this automated market maker and you know, okay, I have this information, I know they are going to sell the Ether Classic tokens, I can just trade on this market, and basically I get rewarded because those tokens will, if I already know this outcome, I can buy those tokens for a fraction of what they are eventually worth, so I get paid. But in this process, I kind of reveal my private information and make it public, so I'm selling the information. Another one, use case number 3 for prediction markets is hedging. An insurance is basically a bet. So fire insurance is basically a bet that your house will burn down. If it does, you win a lot of money. If not, you just lose your bet amount. So what you can do is you can just create an event and try to buy tokens of the outcome that you don't like. And if it happens, well, at least you get compensated. You get monetarily compensated. So one of the ideas of the prediction market is that you can hedge. In the future, you can hedge against more or less everything. And since you don't, like today, you would need to ask an insurance company, and most likely they won't do it. So this option will just create an open market for any kind of need to hedge against any kind of risk. So you just create your need or your thing you want to hedge against, and then everyone who thinks they have an idea of how likely that is, they can say, okay, I think it has a 5% likelihood, so I sell you this thing for 8%, so I take a small premium. So everyone, there's an open market and hopefully an efficient market for any kind of insurances. Next one is create an incentive. Create an incentive to do something. So let's say you want to support. Okay, let's imagine a few weeks back you've been a big DAO token holder, and you want to incentivize developers to create the necessary software for a hard fork. And what can you do today? So today, let's say you have a goal and you have money to spend. So today you would need to figure out some people who are capable of doing whatever you want, and give them the money directly. What you can do with the prediction market is, again, you can use this basic contract, and you can create a bunch of tokens. Tokens of, like in this example, there will be software that does this hard fork, and there will be no software that does this hard fork. And now so let's say you put in $1,000, so you have 1,000 of those tokens. There will be a software that implements a hard fork. So you take those tokens and you put them on a marketplace and you auction them off. So maybe you start with a high price and you just go down, or whatever, any kind of auction. However, so if there's someone willing, so there are this 1,000 this tokens potentially worth $1,000, and if there's someone who thinks, okay, I can do that, and I can do it for example, less than 1,000, then they can buy those tokens, make it happen, and collect the reward. I'm not 100% sure if everyone understood that, but let's continue. And if there are questions, I'm happy to answer them. Next one is signaling. So I want to make a strong statement, or I want to publicly show my confidence in something. So what I can do is I can make it publicly a prediction. So I can just put publicly a lot of money on something. So I would say if someone is a self-proclaimed expert and is saying, well, that's going to happen, if everyone would, or I would trust, or I would listen to the expert way more if they actually put $10,000, $5,000, $100,000 behind their prediction. So it's a way to for sure get some attention. So if you make a forecast and you put a lot of money behind it, people will maybe look at it twice, or will maybe take it more serious, your prediction. Finally, or not finally, but number 6 is Futarchy. In my opinion, a really, really interesting concept of decentralized governance. Not sure how much time I should spend on this, but in the DAO, the concept was voting. And so vote for what investments should we make. And there are lots of problems with voting. And just to name just a few, first, if you are small, or if you don't have too much tokens, then it's kind of unlikely that your vote will eventually change the outcome. So you're not really incentivized to spend your time and to do the research and to kind of figure out what the right decision is. So if you it's another problem is if you do spend the time and do spend the research and you figure out that the specific proposal is, for example, bad, then the best thing you could do is you would just either vote against it or sell your tokens and just kind of leave it. But you're not really incentivized to or there's no way to get money from your knowledge that this specific proposal is a bad one. All those problems and a few more are fixed with Futarchy. So the idea behind Futarchy is, and let's go back to the DAO. Let's say there's a proposal to the DAO, and then you create 2 markets that will forecast, for example, the future value of DAO tokens. And one, under the condition that this proposal today will be implemented, and one that it will be not. And then you just allow trading for a week on those 2 forecasts of the value of DAO tokens, and then you will automatically, or that could be a way to do it, you would automatically implement the proposal or the decision that leads to a higher forecasted value. Maybe if there's more discussion needed, then let's do it after that. Oh. And last but not least, gambling. Don't have to talk. I mean, straightforward. So prediction market to some degree, it's pure betting. You can obviously do sports betting with a prediction market. And what's interesting about that is today, if you bet against a traditional bookmaker, if you spend $100 on average, you get 90. If it's a decent bookmaker, you get 95 back. If it's a bad bookmaker, you get only 70 back on average. We want to increase this number to 99.5. So it would basically make gambling very, very cheap. So if you would, okay, but finally, last slide for this, and then I'm open to show maybe our recent version or answer all kind of questions. We intend to do crowdsale. We want to start it at Etherem, and it will last for 2 weeks. And it's the usual thing for 4 weeks. The usual thing. First 2 weeks you get a fixed rate, and then the rate gets decreased. All the ether will again go directly into the contract, and the contract is Gnosis DAO, and it will actually be governed. So we aim to do the first DAO that's governed by Futarchy. What are the properties of those tokens? It's 2 important things. First, it will give you the right to create markets on Gnosis without paying a fee. And that's, in our opinion, really interesting or an important thing. So I said earlier, we want to create this neutral platform where as much as people come together because of the positive network effects of having a shared liquidity pool and having only one marketplace, one global marketplace. And there are lots of different applications you can build with prediction market. I just showed 7 very different use cases. And we will not build them all ourselves, so we will focus on making Gnosis platform. And it should be as easy as setting up a WordPress blog to set up your skin on one of those topics, or if you want to make predictions on what is the next Supreme Court decision, or what will be the weather, or what will the celebrity couple break up or not. So all those, we call it skins, will have their own community and will have very different user interface. So our model is that someone who intends to build a skin, or if you anticipate there will others that have the interest in building such a skin, you can kind of buy a bunch of Gnosis tokens and just hold them, and that gives you the right to create so and so much token markets, so kind of use the platform for free. So it's, to some degree, it's a licensing model, but you don't pay the licensing fee and then it's just gone. You pay the licensing fee, then you get the license, but the license is a token that you can later, for example, sell. So if the platform is attractive, then those licenses, those tokens, will have value. Second option is you don't have tokens and you can create a market, but you have to pay a fee, and those fees are distributed to token holders. 2 more things. We plan to do, on the one hand, the Gnosis DAO, so that's more or less what I described, and we will, and on top of that, we will have the Gnosis Fund. And the Gnosis Fund is kind of similar to the DAO, so it will, it's kind of this venture fund, but it's purely, it's purely, or it concentrates on funding projects that will build on top of Gnosis. So again, those lots of examples: flight insurance market, gambling for Asia, this incentive scheme market, whatever you can imagine. Okay, one last thing I want to describe, and then I'm happy to open up for questions. One tricky part is if you do crowdsale, how much percentage or what goes to those who buy into this crowdsale, and what goes to the core team. And we want to open up this question. Clara, we want to open up this question, or we want to let this question, or we want to, those who invest in the crowdsale should answer this question. So, what does this mean concrete? You put in 1 Ether, you generate 100 tokens, 100 DAO tokens, and then you can choose yourself whether you can in addition generate more tokens from 0 up to 100 that will go to the core team. So if you believe the core team will do their job, no matter, and it doesn't matter if they are stakeholders in this project, then you couldn't decide to 0 because you don't want to dilute those tokens. However, if you think it's better if the core team has some stake in the game and they are committed, then you can choose whatever range or whatever you want between 0 and 100. So and we are kind of excited to give this option to those who want to participate in the crowd sale, and we are curious of what number in the end, on average, will go to the core team. The important part is you will get 100 tokens for 1 Ether no matter what, and on top of that, you have the option to create more tokens that go to the core team if you think that's good for the right incentive structure. All right, so I think that's it from the slides. Again, I'm happy to answer all kind of questions or show you the latest version. Thank you. Yes. What do I do? So I'm not sure.
In there somewhere, right? So hit escape.
I do window.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.